Something was on the roof. Heavy footsteps echoed above, accompanied by the unsettling creak of wood under pressure. Then came the sounds, grunts, guttural and primal. They reminded me of animals, but wilder Santa's reindeer. I thought, my heart leaping with excitement. I knew I was supposed to be asleep, but how could I miss this? I finally proved to my family that Santa was real, but as I listened closer, the grunts grew harsher, more menacing. It was almost as if, no, it had to be Santa. Santa is here, I whispered excitedly to myself, my voice breaking the stillness of the night. My excitement through the roof. I rushed to my brother's bed and shook him heavily, while saying, "Jason, Jason, Santa is here. He brought our presents." Santa is here, I whispered excitedly to myself, my voice breaking the stillness of the night. My excitement through the roof. I rushed to my brother's bed and shook him heavily, while saying, "Jason, Jason, Santa is here. He brought our presents. He brought our presents."
Jason groaned and turned away. "Go away, it's too early for your antics," Jason said, exhausted. "You are 12 years old now, you shouldn't believe in childish things anymore." "Oh, but you can believe in aliens. That's different. I'm not playing any tricks. Why don't you ever believe me, huh?" Stupid said, frustrated. Suddenly, I heard a loud sound, the sound of glass being broken. I left my stupid, hard-headed brother in disappointment alone in our room. I quickly sprinted to my parents' room, which was stated parallel to ours. It was dark and spooky, traveling in the hallway while the lights were off, watching the curtains moving as if they were possessed by ghost tree branches scraped against the house, creating a scratching sound. The sounds of wind whistled throughout the night, with little raindrops pattering on the roof.
Why didn't I grab my jacket? I thought, crossing my arms tightly against my chest for warmth. As soon as I reached their door, I realized that it was slightly ajar. They must have left it open like always. I pushed the door open and went to wake my parents. They switched on their bedroom light.
"Mom, Dad, I heard Santa. He's downstairs," said excitedly.
"What are you talking about?"
Mom rubbing her eyes.
Listen, kiddo, it's probably your imagination. Go to sleep,
Dad assured.
Just then, a chill went up my spine. I turned my head to face the door. The sounds of heavy footsteps that I heard before emerged behind the door and stopped. He cast a shadow beneath the door.
It's me, Santa. I brought your presents. Come and open yours. It's something you wanted, but never received from your parents. I am the only one who understands you and will never disappoint you. They are in the sitting room downstairs.
Really? You brought presents? Robbie Tusk, staring at the door. Hurry, tell.
Who brought presents? Robbie's mother asked in confusion.
His father frustratedly got out of bed, having drowsy eyes, and walked towards the door.
Robbie, it's too late in the night for this.
He's here! He's calling me! Robbie defended his last statement.
Who? His mother asked, a bit concerned.
Robbie answered, "Santa," pointing at the door.
Dad sighed. He opened the door, but remarkably there was no one standing at the door.
"See, Dad, I told you! It's Santa!" Robbie exclaimed.
What are you talking about, Robbie? There is no one there, I told you. You're just imagining things. Now go to sleep, please. We had a very long day today, getting things ready for Christmas. I'm tired, okay? Said exhaustedly.
But
"Robbie, please go to bed!" Dad snapped.
Robbie, forget them and come to me. No one will ever care about you like I do.
A large male figure, speaking at the door.
Robbie glanced at his parents one more time as they were getting ready to go to bed and angrily ran out of the room, slamming the door behind him. He collided with the vicar's big old belly, hugging Santa with such a rapturous smile. Santa smelled like rotten eggs that had been left up for too long. His suit, while bear hugging his body, felt slippery and slimy. He noticed that Santa's clothes were somewhat wet and sticky. Ew, what's this? He said, wiping his hands on the t-shirt that he wore. Why are your clothes so wet and sticky, Santa asked while being a bit disgusted.
Because they are covered with the blood of naughty boys and girls. I have an endless list filled with those I yet have not claimed. My clothes are usually white as milk, but when you're dealing with restless kids, you always get your clothes dirty. It's kind of my job, and within that job, I deliver gifts to those who are well behaved.
Explained in the same low bass voice. Santa released the big red bag he was carrying from his shoulders and placed it on the floor, making a slapping sound when it collided with the floor. He untied the rope that was tightly wrapped around it and opened the bag wide, then said,
Take a look, Robbie, here they are.
As Robbie got closer and closer to the sorry bag, laid on the floor, he took his shirt and covered his nose with it. His heart rate began to beat faster and faster. Robbie stopped as he was now next to the bag. He glanced at Santa and reverted back to the revolting bag. Robbie peeked inside of it and his heart skipped a beat. Such a kid would never imagining something as grotesque as what was in the bag.
The big blood-stained bag contained body parts of different children, half-crushed heads and bruised hands, dismantled arms and legs with bones showing, just floating on top of one another. Some heads were cracked, exposing parts of the brain. Some children were still alive, crying out for help, blood coming out of their mouths as they desperately screamed.
A low-pitched kind of sound forced its way into the house, echoing through the walls, sending shivers across my body. The sounds kept intensifying into something unheard of. It was pain into Robbie's ears. Robbie's body was shaking heavily. His body was frozen in place. He focused his glance on the large man again in fear. Who are they, Santa, and are those your reindeers on the roof? He anxiously asked.
Reindeers? Who told you that? Those are my 12 demons. Must be quite hungry. Might I say?
They chuckled and looked at the bag.
And these are some troublemakers I was telling you about, unlike you. Right, Robbie?
Yeah, of course. I think I should go to bed now, breathing heavily.
No, Robbie. There is something you need to do.
Holding my shoulders.
You can't. I need you for something special.
The deep voice excitedly said, What? Robbie hesitantly asked, looking away.
Ho, ho, ho. It's a surprise.
Moving closer to Robbie's face.
Hey, what's wrong? Don't be scared.
While turning the child face towards him.
A big creepy smile could be seen on the man's giant wrinkled face, his huge gray beard having crumbs in it.
Don't worry, you're not in trouble. Unlike those rotten kids, after all, you are a good kid.
While smiling, showing yellowish teeth inside his widened smile.
But you broke one of my rules, and unfortunately, you will not receive any presents this year.
Stroking his beard. Why? Robbie slightly annoyed.
Because you're going to become the present this year.
Santa went through his bulky bag. He raffled through it until he found something metallic in it. He pulled it out and turned towards Robbie, who was still in the dark, hollow hallway. Robbie's eyes slowly widened.
Santa?
Quivering in fright.
The sun was up and the rooster crowed, waking everyone up in their cozy beds. The Bensons gathered in the sitting room after washing their faces and teeth. They saw many kinds of presents wrapped up around the Christmas-decorated tree, with something hanging on top of it. Mrs. and Mr. Benson glanced at one another, giving gestures indicating of confusion. Dear, did we buy this many? Mr. Benson shook his head and sat down on the dinner table.
The milk and cookies are gone.
Mr. Benson belly rambling.
Robbie probably ate them since he was up late, sitting on the sitting room mattress.
Where is your brother Jason?
Mrs. Benson inquisitively asked.
He must be sleeping because he didn't get any sleep last night, saying that Santa is here. Santa is here.
Jason spouted while scanning through the presents.
Huh? He came to us saying the same thing. Mr. Benson added. Oh yeah?
Jason said,
Hey mom, can I open the presents? All right, but save some for your little brother, okay? We bought the blue bike he wanted, Mrs. Benson said. Okay, Jason unsatisfied. Jason picked a present at random and began tearing it apart, eager to know what was inside. It felt like it could be a phone. Jason's eyes popped out, wearing a huge smile until he saw what exactly in it.
Mom, what's this? Asked his mother, who was sitting at the dinner table with her husband. What do you mean? Mrs. Benson asked. You bought us Halloween props for Christmas. Jason stated, no, I did not. Now moving closer to the Christmas tree. Yeah, see, Jason showing his mother the separated hand with a bone sticking out at the end of it while blood from it dripped on the mattress. Mrs. Benson, seeing the hand, screamed in terror and turned towards Mr. Benson. Dear? Did you buy that? Mr. Benson shook his head and rushed to inspect the other presents as well. In every present, he found a body part. He started getting disturbed as he was analyzing each of the limbs. The family was in terror when they discovered that the limbs were of a real person. The mother, while trembling, grabbed her cell phone and called the police. After a few minutes, Jason looked at the top of the tree to see what was placed on top of it. Robbie? Mom, Dad, it's Robbie's head. Jason shocked. What? Both of the parents exclaimed. Robbie's head is placed on top of the Christmas tree. Jason repeated it more clearly to his parents. Jason with tears in his eyes and cried out, Robbie. Robbie's face was pale and had a terrified face frozen in time. The police officers came 20 minutes later, finding the family in misery. The police began investigating the place top to bottom. When they were being interrogated, they all give the same as to why the murder happened. Robbie repeatedly said Santa is here. They said roughly the same way. And when asked if they noticed or heard anything odd last night, they responded no. They only found one clue during their investigation, a t-shirt, the same one Robbie wore the night of his passing. A message was engraved on it in blood, saying, Merry Christmas.